Hello, everyone. The Irrational Skeptic here, and today I am going to be doing a video on uh, the differentiation between INTPs and INTJs. Um, I actually, after doing the former video on INFPs versus INFJs, I thought I would just go down um, uh, a few of the MBTI types that uh, commonly mistype as each other, and this is one I've seen on several forums elsewhere, several type forums and whatnot. Um, so yeah, this is a common mistyping, um, though uh, I I really don't see how they could really mistype as each other, so to say. I I tend to find it a lot easier to differentiate the two. Um, so, um, First, I will go down the list of um, cognitive functions for the INTJ and the list of cognitive functions for the INTP, and then I will just do a general analysis. So, the INTJ has, and this is in the MBTI. So the INTJ will have NI as the dominant function, TE as the auxiliary, FI as the tertiary, and SE as the inferior function. Versus the INTP, the INTP will have TI as a dominant function, and E as and as an auxiliary function, uh, SI as a tertiary function, and FE as an inferior function. So how does this play out in real life? Well, you'll have both types being very uh, heady. They'll always seem to be in their heads, and it's easy to see this. I think this is a kind of the trademark of introverts or introverted thinking types and intuitives in general. You can see it when you look at them. Um, it'll look like they're not there in a sense. So you look at the both these types. Um, it'll look like they're kind of far off in their own world, um, thinking about this or that. For the INTP, it could be a host of things. It could be thinking about uh, I'll use computer science because that's a major I did myself. So yeah, they can be sitting down thinking about a function that they're trying to implement in a program, thinking about the best way to do it, thinking about which algorithms would be the best, thinking about how to tweak a program they've already done in order to make it better. This is a kind of a common thing an INTP that maybe is interested in programming would be doing. Uh, that's common to them. So the INTJ, similarly, if they were programming, they might, uh, if they were programmers, they might think about such things, but it's if they were, I will use the same example. So if they are a programmer, they might be a little bit more thinking about the application of a certain software that they're working on. They might be thinking of how it can be applied to different areas of life, or how to build sort of an enterprise uh, of uh, of interconnected systems in order to have some sort of end goal. They're a lot more goal oriented than the INTP. So if you're one of the two types and maybe you're both in computer science, you can kind of use this to differentiate what your goals, what you see as your goals to be. The INTJ is a little bit more industrious than the INTP. So the INTP will likely be more of your typical quote unquote nerd, kind of just playing with logical connections for the sake of it, just for the sake of it, not having any kind of goal in mind, save the goal of tweaking and making uh, that system better, or making that particular function better. Um, the INTJ, on the other hand, will think a lot in terms of um, effectiveness. How to use this function more effectively, how it can impact um, wider applications. Um, I would say so. The INTPs may specialize a lot more. Yeah, they will actually specialize a lot more. And the INTJ can be found, like I said before, being a little bit more industrious with their cogitations, with what they think about. So yeah, that's a distinction I gave in a field that I'm familiar with, and how you can see the two being different. But I guess to speak more broadly for those that might not be computer scientists, I will say you would have to notice, you would have to really look at and um, notice your preference for extroverted feeling versus introverted feeling. I think that's a key marker that will help differentiate both of you um, when you kind of come down to it, because you're both still very heady types and you're also both very good with logic, introverted logic. The INTJ is also very good with logical deduction, so it can be hard sometimes to separate um, their introverted thinking from their introverted intuition. They kind of go hand in hand. And uh, Yeah, for the INTP, although that could be a key distinction. It's not as, but it's also not as simple for them as well to separate their uh, introverted thinking and introverted intuition, because they're also kind of playing with each other. They're going hand in hand. They're thinking about how to apply this um, this logical nugget, but they have some inherent end goal in mind. So you might kind of see them as being attached. So um, you want to come back to the FI versus FE distinction, and the INTP will be a lot. Uh, yeah, I'll have to say they'll be a lot more friendly. I just want to use it is how I see them in common interactions. They will actually just be a lot more friendly. The INTJ will try to be cordial. I think that's a good word that I can use for that. They try to be a lot more cordial. So, but you can kind of see it in them that they really a lot of times, like they don't want to talk to you, like, but you can see them like tightening up, and they're kind of wondering, oh, when is this conversation gonna be over? And the INTP, on the other hand, is will be a lot more willing to play with you. That's the best way I can put it. They'll play around a lot more, and they'll go back and forth with you, um, with ideas, and they can be very, very, very playful. You can talk about um, social conventions with them. They'll go at it with you. They'll use their extroverted intuition to come up with different scenarios and possibilities, and they'll have fun with you. The INTJ, on the other hand, um, you might have to get to know them a little bit more to see that side of them. So they'll come off a lot more cold at first, before you are able to maybe get into their inner circle, and they decide to open up to you and have maybe intellectual conversations with you, and uh, have commentary. They also tend to have commentary on society, but watch out, they can be very dismissive of people in general. So watch out for that. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna end that there. I might do a second part series to all the types that I'm gonna be differentiating. So this is you can kind of have this as an introduction. But if you're stuck between the two types and you're trying to find out which one of the two you are, and you happen to be in the computer science field, you can use the example I gave of how to differentiate um, between how you guys maybe take programming as a whole, how you think about it as a whole. And if you're not, you can try and use the other examples uh, of differentiating between FI and FE in your functional stacks. Yeah, that will be it. And until next time, the Irrational Skeptic signing off.